Hello, everybody. So, a little over a month ago, Cuz Claw, who's let's see, he's a member of Toxic Mafia, my old faction, but he's also really vocal in the Champs Chat server, had asked about people that need little to nothing. You know, right out of the box, we just got them. Who can we use that just doesn't require all the whaley shit? Now, Lee had just done a series. It was a short series, but it was the top people that didn't need a plate. We're going to do it a little bit different. We're only going to include people that need basic plates that you could get out of the Showdown shop or out of the Stipulation Tour shop, which is just MP plate, Cascade plates, and then let's see, not it won't be loot events. Where am I going? All right, so if we just go into here and look into the store, we see we've got the MP plate, right? It's the same Cascade plates in the Stiff Shop, also MP plates there as well. Those are all fair game. Oh, but hopefully this can help anybody that, yeah, see MP plate. Sometimes they have a Cascade plate in there. Hey, while we're here, no whammy, no whammy, and generic. And we'll just grab this. That way we don't forget. Thank you. All right, moving forward. Those are fair game, including the 50% per time that we use the a move that increases our color. So there is somebody that we're going to call out for that. But do keep in mind that many of these are going to be S plus tier. S plus tiers are typically designed that way, you know, because they are a spend tier. But let's say you just randomly happen to open one in a box, or they, you know, offer one through some way of getting it accessed. We're gonna start with the person in that number one spot up here on my roster. That's Miss Jacqueline. Okay, Jacqueline has two ways that are heavy strap use ways of triple green and even her silence build. We're going to actually look at her sub bleed build. And that's also what I meant to say as well is that typically, if we're not using plates, we're going to see some submissions. We're going to see some stuns. We're going to see some heavy buffs of the move, you know, in the move, not move damage itself. There are some move damage setups, but we're typically looking at things outside of just gym damage. Okay, and with Jacqueline, it's this. This is how I run her, and with China, this is going to become really nasty. So you can literally put in what you have. The better stuff you have, the better this will do. This is how I play it. And again, with China, this would be very, very good. But we'll run through one quick match with it this way. So let's find Miss Jade Cargill and just show how this is done. So, what do we have to look out for? We have to look out for MP up people like Rhea. We have to look out for submission people like our female zombies and the other ladies that block female or block submissions. So, two things that we do have to concern ourselves with. But we're gonna throw out the bleed. We're gonna hit the MP up to load our sub. And then the sub we get to, it is a choose sub, but it's not leaving anything on the board. And that's the only subs that I'm okay with is when I'm not leaving anything that needs to stay. And there we go. Let me just show y'all real quick on the back end of what we're doing here. It does roughly about 90 million this way, and again, we're going to break 100 million once we get China. But you see that bleed for 3 turns. We're doing 60 million in the bleed alone. Then we're tacking on. All right, so this is an 80 million setup. See that? 80 million. 21.2 million in bleed, so that's really 63 million. And then 5.25 million times 4 turns, or 20 million. That's 80 million. We should get a lot better once we're able to replace this Yoo-Hoo, because we'll get 25% more to our submission and another 75% to the bleed. So really, really big once it comes to that. There's other things you could do. You can extend the sub, and that will actually do better doing something like this. And then on the back, you could, play with what you got. We're still doing 10 million. That's 30 million there. That's 35 million there. So that's 65 million. But let's say that we don't have Ray Phoenix, then we would just go to something like this, where we're doing 7 million for 8 turns. That's 56 million on top of 9 million. So it does drop a good bit when you don't have Apollo, but it is one that it does recycle itself. So a 2-cycle win would definitely get you there for sure. If you have the Whaley things, it's just faster. Okay? All right, moving on. We're going to come back to this, because I'm not really sure how well this will do. You know what, let's just test it. The problem here is the moments do 150 and 100, so that's 250. That's a lot. So what we're going to do, we're started there. We're going to break Volcana. We're going to break Hogan. It's about as close as I could get to getting rid of it. Now, if you notice, I'm actually decreasing my submission by 2 turns, and I'm doing this. I don't know if it goes higher than that. We're never going to bring him higher than that, because it's really a perfect... Yeah. -2 is a perfect thing for that to be, because it's 5... And this is leaving gems on the board, so this is a lesser of a sub build just because we're leaving stuff on the board. It's if they've got any type of small cascade plate or anything, they could easily wipe out our setup. Again, 2-cycle win, so let's do something like that. It's a non-pin bar setup, so, play with that however you need. And the sub is not there to do any damage. That is, she broke so few. Let's see if that... Wow. Okay, so this is going to do really well. We hit this, and we get a big buff toward our immobiles and wipe her out. Again, I have the moments, but Volcana and Hogan are going to get you somewhat close to that. But it is sub build. There's some other things you can do. So let's just show this, because it is something. Okay. For this, you are wanting, actually, yeah, the middle move is not as important. You're wanting the old honky tonk plate. This right here, whenever we break green, we get blue. All right, so with this, what you're doing is you're going to be focusing toward your powerhouses because you get that 300% for green, and you're going to use the honky tonk and then the KO plate, and you're going to try to recycle this as much as you can, that DDT to the live kick. It's a no pin bar move, so it is possible. You do need to set up some road breaks. It is clicky as all get go, but it is one of those that we can do something along these lines. And I wish I had a quick pick filter. I haven't done it in a while, so it's not in my fast pull-ups, but let's see. And I don't have a powerhouse to really go against to show it off, but it is manageable. It is doable. And again, a honky tonks, which is one of the more basic skill plates, and Tech Razor is what we're looking for. He does 60% to green gem damage and starts with blue MP. So Tech Razor is what you're looking for there. We're not going to keep hunting it down. There is something there. It's slow gameplay. I prefer the sub if you don't have plates. The sub is going to be the way to go for that for sure. Moving onward, we have Molly Holly, Hall of Fame. If you haven't seen it, go check out Zoro's video. But this is a move damage setup. It is a turn 2, so we're working our reversal. And you're going to chase people that increase their gem damage. And by doing so, we're going to create move damage. You see that it starts with 15 million. Zoro did this beautifully. Some of his numbers don't make sense for me. I don't see how he was able to knock out some of the big Rios. I think he was fighting a lesser hyped person, to be honest. But we start at 15 million, and we can just load up on green gem. You know, you could go in here and say Gable. You don't actually have to use the move because when they hit their gem buff, it's going to do it for you. And you see how we just scaled all the way up to 75? That's before we put a strap. So you could literally swipe, them hit their buff, it reverses back to you, and do 75 million without breaking a single gem or using a move. You know, it's technically using that move, but you ideally want to try to, you know, swipe and hit as many gems as possible so that you can pin on turn 2. But very, very strong. 75 million doesn't need a strap. But if you just put a strap with some takedown 3s on there, you're going to be golden. Right? And we sell and get rid of most of those. So it's one of those that to have something like that for her is definitely a gold thing. There's some stuff with Abby where you don't really need much, but it's if you have Abby, you're going to have the moment because she unlocks the moment. Unless you just didn't play that month, but you have Abby but not Dexter or something like that. Chances of you having Abby and not Dexter, I'm sure there's an account out there, but it's going to be pretty rare. But she is S+, so a lot harder to get with that. All right, moving on. Charlotte. Charlotte, you're able to risk it for the biscuit. Okay, and she has gotten better because Tech Razor has gotten better. She has gotten better because instead of 30%, we have 40%. But she plays the exact same way where we high risk, high reward if you don't have a Piper plate or a green Piper plate. Where you're going to go ahead and hit your head scissors. You are going to hit the big boot. You're going to hit the spear. It's very, very simple. We have the green Piper, so we're not going to show it off. Also, she's Hype 4, so you know what? Hell with it. We'll go ahead and imitate what it would be like. So Rizar 60%, and then he generates more green gems, all that jazz. 40%, 40%, perfect. She's so strong, even today in our modern setup. But while we have plates, we're again going to imitate not having plates so that you could see the pattern, because if you just recently got her, you're not going to be as familiar with her gameplay. So normally you would turn the entire top of the board green, leave the pyros down there. We're going to skip that the first time. We're going to throw this here, and then we're loaded again. So we're able to trigger everything again. You hit the pyro again, you hit the buff again. You don't need to hit the pyro if you don't have a pyro plate, so we'll just go ahead and show that where we're hitting here. And just to give you an idea, this is way off from where you would be, but each of these is doing 2.5 million, and we're going to blow up the board twice. And then I always skip this if I'm already past the gem damager. That there's no reason to blow it up a second time unless you're just trying to get really big damage. If you don't have a plate, though, you do want to blow it up the second time. So I should have shown it. It just would have taken another couple seconds. You throw your green or your blues at the bottom. That's all we're doing. All right. We've seen some ladies. Let's talk about guys. And the first guy that we're going to go to is going to be Hornswoggle, but seen as another one that his submission is fairly accessible to everyone. And a lot of people like this. It's low MP, so I get that. The thing I don't like is that it leaves gems behind. So there is that, but he has a really big buff. He's got a big buff, and I cannot lie. All right, let's see. Leech to blue. This does more. And actually, he goes even a little bit higher at 25k, so we'll just go ahead and do that. And we will do blue MP, whatever's the first blue MP that I end up seeing, because we don't. You need 4, so let's show it right. I've never run it this way because I've always preferred his other setups, but his other setups do need a little bit of love, a little bit. Although we will discuss those after, because the stuff that is there is not. It's not like it's hard to get, right? Okay. And then on the back end, man, the back end gets whaley. I'm not gonna lie. The back end Viscera, really ideally you want EO. I don't know which is going to be easier to get, but wait, hang on. There's 100%er that we could get. Let's get 25 from here, and we could get 100% from Theory, I believe. Tyson Theory. he was one that he was really big with the McMahon push, and then Triple H did not continue with that, and the game was the same where he had 2 quick cards, and then haven't seen anything with him since. Just to show you what EO looks like with that, it gets a lot better. But you're still able to do this setup right here very easily. However, we're going to show this because with very little, we can hit really hard here. So again, low MP. Red Mosh increases our multis by 1 and creates more multis. I actually like him over Howdy. And on the back end, you could really, do something like this. And then he's acro, so this. And I'm going to show this because with a basic plate, that crown actually, perfect. We are going to go into a quick match. Every feud, you get every buff because we're going to be breaking rainbow gems. So if a multi hits a red, we've got the crown. The crown's giving us a lot more. So we're going to go ahead and throw out these. There is a chance that you don't get a match. It's very, very slim that one of these cross breaks don't fall on one of your matches. You see, we got a green match up there, a red match up there, 2 green matches, really. A black match, a yellow match. There's matches all over. So our regular reds are doing 300,000, right? Green's not so much of a buff because we don't have a plate on them. But look at that right there. I mean, 3.7 million. It's just, he hits obnoxious come feud time. And again, we're not using anything Whaley. You saw I didn't throw my Leo on there. That was 78 million. I don't even know if we have medals. And again, no perks on right now. So come feud time, you have perks. Let's take a quick look at him in here. The strap's only 100%. We do have medals on there. Okay, so this does have the moment, which does give 50% more to gems. So there is that. But again, you don't need it come feud time. All right, moving onward. We've got Mr. Hornswoggle. Hornswoggle does have a submission with it, but he is one of them that you don't even need a strap for his setup. It's triple blue. I like to buff the traps, so I do something along these lines. You might just have this, which is fine. Either way, if you're going to focus on traps, focus on traps. If you're going to focus on submission, focus on submission. We're going to do this because to negate the gear a little bit, that's 200%. Normally, I would run both Jacob and what's her butt? Bliss. So we're losing 100% by going with both of these. Does she go up any higher? I don't. 35k, she adds one more and goes up to 150. So we actually need to bring her up a little bit. Next time we need coin, because I didn't realize she didn't have all the coin. All right. Very simple gameplay with this. Again, does not need a strap. Does not need a moment. Technically does not need gear. He just gets better with gear. And this is nothing new. It's the same Hornswoggle gameplay that we have been seeing for quite some time, where we just hit this. Again, I like the trap because it really sinks the damage in. and then throw this out and they swipe, swipe, swipe. This also has our reversal built in. So if they use MP up to load up any of their moves, we reverse it. Very, very strong character. Now, the next one, let's find Sammy. Because I'm going to... Rock's a good one. Rock's fine. Okay. We're going to look at Braun Breaker. And I hope that I still have a strap built for him, even if it's a shitty one. Braun Breaker has a stun. Yeah, here's his old... let's see. So many straps that I don't use anymore. Okay, it's got armor. Okay, not worried about that. So, entourage for him. These moves are 7 MP. We're not worried about the purple, although that is a really good setup for him. We are just going to throw this on there. And, you know, we'll just do that. How about that? So he does have the NXT moment, but he does have a stun, and he's got multis. And I feel like snowfall plates are a little more of a commonplace, but it's one of those that I really like the cascade plate on there. And this actually works really stinking good with the Steve Sticks. All right, so here's the juice. Right here, if our opponent is a trickster, we stun them for 1 turn. We're going to go ahead and throw this out. There's multis across the bottom. Not huge, but it is one of those that you can stack this and stack this. There's so many plate combinations that you could do with it now that he can do some serious damage. Let's go ahead and break these. It's going to trigger our cascade plates. Sometimes we get more like so. Okay. And again, this is with a cascade plate. The top plate was really doing nothing. That was throwing out some X breaks for a turn 2 type setup. If you didn't kill them off with the first turn. So he is one that with the moment, oh my god, he can do some stinking damage. With the Steve Sticks, he can do some stinking damage. The more you get from him, the better he is. But bare bones, he's got that stun, which makes him very efficient come feud time. All right, so we've gone over a couple ladies, a couple guys. There's not really going to be any B tiers in this or A tiers. They just don't really fit the mold for not needing anything. So there's that. While Ilya doesn't need a plate, he does need that moment in order to hit that 100 million mark. Goldberg definitely needs his gears. Muda, kind of. You can definitely throw this little plate up here where we break red and make purple. Let's see, on the bottom side. This is going to take a little bit of luck, but you could do... This one here, this is occasionally in the shop, so there is that. You don't necessarily need the Purple Rumble. He doesn't have any moments or gears. Those are basic plates that you could get. Muta, very, very strong with little to nothing. And like I said, some basic plates that you get out of Stip and Showdown shops. Going past that, Ali is actually really good. You do need some things for Ali, but his gear, which is a big MP gear, is in the hangers. So that's free to get. Of course, you had to be playing when we had him. You see the Steve sticks on here. There's some other plates that you could put down there that, can do a little different. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Steve sticks. In fact, there was something that I was considering doing with this. No. Where was it? This. With a Haku plate. So you do have that. I know the Haku plate has been a little bit more available, but we're talking about people with nothing. But just real quick, since we're on Ali, a plate that is in the Showdown shop that is obtainable, so we can show this, is this one right here. Anytime we use a black move, we increase our gem damage by 50%. It's actually a really good plate for Ali. Again, his gear is free in the hangers. That plate is free in the shop. Both of those make him very good. The sticks just makes him stupid good. Alrighty, we're moving forward. Leo's still very good. Most of these need something. We already showed Molly Holly. There's... Where did he go? Where's Cody? This guy. He's got some things on him. However, his triple green setup has really good move damage built into it. And you can... let's just demo that real quick. I'm going to show you what this looks like. Because he's gotten some things added that... like Kofi, so you don't necessarily need the turkey. And then this on the strap. We're not going to change too much around. We're just going to go ahead and throw a... I wonder if I've still got a tier 5. I do. Perfect. Let's just go ahead and show Cody off real quick. If you're able to get your hands on a... oh, what plate is that? The Sheik plate. Everybody, when they see triple green, their mind automatically goes to a Sheik plate. Well, guess what? Cody has a move buff, so therefore the Sheik plate actually works really well with him. It's not just, having big damage. So first of all, we're going to go ahead and throw out and increase our move damage by 150%. We're going to throw out our snowfalls. And then we're going to create 3 that are blue. Because of Hogan, we're going to get matchy match. Ooh, hang on, we don't want to do that. Let's hope we don't cascade. Okay, so we've gone through one cycle. Now we can see we are doing, what's that, 6 million there, 11 million there, 8 million there. Let's go ahead and hit the buff again. You see how we're just draining Sammy as we go. Now we're doing 18 million here, 13 million there. So we just throw this out. and then we're going to go ahead and break the board. So this is Cody with no plates, right? I've got MP on him, so he's loaded with MP. It's not like we're using the gear for anything special. And you just come through and blow up the board. And you could even incorporate a green snowfall plate onto this, if you wanted to, and do some really stupid damage between gem and move damage. You really could. Cody's very good. Not just the traditional way, but that way as well. There is cascade risk, but we're talking about, not needing all the other bullshit. And sometimes you do have to risk that cascade. And that leads us to our next one, which is going to be where's Liv? Trick Liv. She was my go-to for a very long time. She has gotten a little easier and better now with Armor King. She's an Armor King user. And why are we wanting to use Armor King? Well, she's not doing multis, but we're doing 2 colors, which now allows us to throw in some of these Whaley trainers if we have them. And Brett went up to 100%, so we're able to get a good buff now, whereas before you had just MP and Santa Hogan. So your only damage was coming from one of these things over here. And we're getting a double stack. So she is one of those that you do have to risk it for the biscuit to double up twice, which if that is the case, I don't like doing the 7 match. I feel a lot safer breaking 6. I don't know why. I cascade so much less when I break 6. So I run it this way. You could also run her this way and chase red MP users. I don't know if any of y'all have ever seen that, but chasing red MP users, this is very effective, where you still want to start loaded with your red MP. You still need Roxanne, but you don't need Armor King. Roxanne by herself will load this, and that allows you to use, one of your 2 red plus gem damage people. Piper Niven and somebody else, but you're still going to lay the Oblivion first, and then your color turn, and then you hit the Jumping Enzuigiri, and then reverse the cycle with hitting the color turn and then the Oblivion. Does not need a plate. It's very, very good with a plate, but it does not need one. Same with the moments. You can get close to 70 million that way alone. Of course, once you start adding all the components to it, she hits all the way up to 250 million, somewhere right up in there. It's very, very strong. She's an OG that's been hitting strong for a long, long time. Rabbit is still in that conversation, but honestly, Rabbit has kind of fallen off. If there's a new black move damage person, sure, but it's not going to do a whole lot more than what we had before, which was with this, right? Because you're only going to be gaining 25%, and that's not a huge amount. He is one of those, though, that there is move damage there. He doesn't need a plate. He just he's better with the multiply set, but it's not good enough to even really run. So there is that. Seth. If you run Seth this way and you use his plate, that little plate, the ball gag plate for Seth, very, very strong, very, very strong, and easy to load up. There is cascade risk, understand that. You don't need Armor King. That could be Priest right there. Do I have Priest as a quick? Yep, there we go. Just for looks. You don't need this up here, so we can go with some gem, a zombie there, a Memrock, whatever your heart's desire. But very, very strong setup. We'll go ahead and show. Well, I don't have a strap on him, so we're not going to worry about that for now. But I don't know if his gear is in the hangers or not, but it's Universal Gems. Now, I say all this, he does have the moment, which is big for him. It gives the multis a ×3. So there is that, but again, very usable in this form. Miz definitely needs his moment. He doesn't need plates, but he definitely needs his moment. Moving onward. We're getting kind of to the end of it. Boss Man. Okay, Boss Man really doesn't need anything. If you've got the moment, you're just going to speed it up a little bit. He does about 50 million. It is a 2-cycle win with a stun. So there is that. He's definitely good. The rest of these all are needy. I think that's going to be a wrap, guys. Everybody else needs something, whether it's a heavy moment or a rare superstar. You know, we're trying not to show too much rare, like you have to have Leo for it to work. That was the case with Zombie Chelsea for a while. If you didn't have Leo, you just weren't using her. Same with Dom. Dom, I really like. Dom, you could chase the reversal. You could just build these multiply gems up, right? Because they start at strength 5. You could build those multiplies up and just fill your finisher. And then, what's this? Do we have anybody that uses MP up? Because I want to show this. This is so stinking good. You don't need anything else. That we're going to go ahead and use Priest, Memrock, see, gem modifier, and we're just going to go searching real quick. I want to show you this reversal because most people haven't been running him this way. They've run the power gems as a focus. Hogan doesn't use MP up. It's Hogan each match. Austin definitely doesn't. Haku does. Perfect. Let's find him on hell mode so we could see. Can we use anybody? Excellent. Okay. We're going to swap straps. Actually, we're going to keep this strap, but keep in mind that you can throw the Dom plate on there. This sucker. And do we want to show that? Oh, no, we're wanting to show with utilizing nothing, right? No rare trainers, anything like that. my gem damage is going to be way off because A, I've got the gear. You don't need the gear. B, why are my moves loaded? Oh, I got tour perks. Actually, this purple would not be loaded, so we would have to do Tech Rock to be loaded on the purple, and then, yeah. Okay. Oh, he's not going to reverse this. He's got the move damage set up. Dang it, let's get out of this. Now, what's crucial with this, Dom, is you want to be loaded with your black gem damage, because otherwise you're going to see we're going to get a board full of multis and it's too late to load at that point. Let's go from here. You reverse multis. What about you? Oh, wrong guy. No, he's doing whatever he's doing. All right, we'll just go with this. And our blacks are loaded, so we're not even going to imitate using that move. We're just going to go ahead and swipe. But you do want to load your blacks in this first turn. It is actually really important that you do so. All right. We load our blacks. It's his turn. He comes in. He fills his moves. Boom. We steal the turn. It throws out multis all over the stinking board. Okay. We hit the finisher. We're not worried about the juggernauts. We just turn the board black. Really stankin' good. Doesn't need anything fancy. In fact, anything you add is just extra. Really. Anything you add is just extra. And Dom is going to be the end of our discussion with that. There's a couple honorable mentions that I'm going to throw in there. But it's one of those that I don't really like this without the moments. Without the moments, it's just less impactful. But you do have El Grande with his botch setup. That's actually really good. But again, it hits that 100 million with that moment. You don't need it. But that's how we get to 100 million. The same with JBL. JBL is a S plus tier. He's extremely whaley. But with his moment, again, same thing. It's how we get to the 100 million with his buff move. There are a couple others, sure, like AJ Lee, but I feel like it's right now, most people are not going to have her. Even the, hey, surprise, AJ Lee, you're more likely to get McCool or something like that today versus AJ Lee. Everybody is strong in their own right. They just get stronger and stronger the more that you put on them. That was the case with Ozzy. I don't know if y'all have seen my recent video of Ozzy. He scaled really well into this hype meta. Are we going to use him? Probably not, because we're just not getting hype for it, wild hype for it. But it is one of those that it has the potential. Somebody else is OTC. We've made plenty of videos with OTC. And even, I'm going to go as far as to say Batista. But Batista, I'm not as excited about anymore. But there we go. I still enjoy using him. He's really, really strong. But if you take away the moment, it really drops him a good chunk. I've been playing him not that way. Let's see. I've been using just 2 moves with him. 1.27. That ain't worth really even looking at. So Batista is, if you've got Roxanne and you've got everything, he's really good, but it's kind of one of those, you want Howdy. If you don't have that, you know. But let's just go ahead and show it. Let's show off our Batista. We're just going to do... let's do Memrock. I promise after this one we are going to go, but let's do previous. See, we're loaded. We're just not going to throw any medals on. And we're actually going to break off Armor King because we've got tour perks. I don't want the moment really interfering with what we're trying to do. Oop, wrong one. So the moment is creating 4 and 50% shit. Okay, let's definitely break this. And I think I can make a 3-match still to get them out twice. When you have nothing like what I have, we want to get out the multis twice. So I'm going to throw these out. The bottom row, God, they lined up the bottom row, didn't they? That's the one row you don't really want them hitting. We have to make a 3-match. 1, 2, 3. That is going to reload our 4 at the bottom, and it also loads the other red move. We're just going to throw 1 row down there. And then we go ahead and throw out our 4 again. Again, risking it for the biscuit. If you've got the moment, chances are you're just throwing it out once, but the more multis you have out there, the better. You know, these things are doing 3 million per green, so there's a lot of them. And then, of course, we just hit the bottom. Batista's probably our best free tier to play that way. It's a high risk, high reward type deal. But you just want to break 1 multi into a 3-match that reloads everything and gets it going for you. Very, very, very strong. Armor King gets it loaded for those of you that, you know, the problem is if you have the moment, you can't reload that way, and then he loses a lot of his strength. Which is why my typical build for him now is actually this, where we just do this and that, right, with Howdy. But he is one of those that right out of the box you could do really good things with. His gear means nothing. Your 200% to pyro is nothing for him. All right. That's a wrap, everybody. Shit, we almost hit an hour. But this has been our special on, you know, people that can hit right out of the box, right the way they are, without having to have anything that is whaley or anything like that. Keep in mind, these are not going to be their best builds. It's just, if you don't have the things to make them tick, this is how you make them tick. Until then, later.